I have a confession. Near the end of the show, you might want to find out what next. But to start off, I'm an addict. What am I an addict of? Well, let's talk about that on today's Frontline discussion.
From deep inside the Truckin Broadcasting Studio, located in Truckin City headquarters, where opinions fly faster than Maverick's F-18 and myths fold like a house of cards. Get ready for the most unique live show challenging you to believe what you see and learn something new every day. Featuring the El Rushbo of Truckin' News, Mr. Attitude himself, your host, Deviator.
Well, that was probably the poorest timed intro ever. I probably had two tracks going over each other. Hey, this is still a learning game, my friends. It is still a learning game. As you see scrolling on the screen before you, give our boy Driving with John a big old round of awesome applause. Give him the love he deserves. Don't know how old, but it ain't my business. But he's also in the house with us today. Change everywhere you look. It's different for everybody. What works for me may not work for you. What's good for you may not work for me. Howdy ho, guys. Welcome to, yes, I said it, Truckin' Frontline. That is our name for this Saturday show moving forward. Why? Because it's our way of life, and it represents what I do here. We are constantly on the front line. Today, it's about change. Tomorrow, it may be an industry standard. The day after that, it may be a regulation. Maybe it's an event that deeply affects us all. Whatever the case is, we are on the front lines. We here at Truckin City are fighting for you. We are fighting for the next best thing. Bear with me, guys. I'm really kind of stringing things together last minute here. We are the Truth in Broadcasting Network. We are the only call-in talk show that I know of, at this hour anyway, that talks about the issues. Today is really not really an issue. Today is just a reminder of, hey, we're here. It may not be the same place we walked into. It may not be the same industry we once knew it to be. But it's an industry nonetheless. It's a job that needs to be done. Our mission here at Truckin City is clear. We take clips, we take articles, and other statements in the media. We look at them, examine them, and we keep them honest. We take what the mainstream media does, and we make it make sense to you. We are giving you the voice. The mainstream media won't. We are giving you the voice to make trucking great again. Just that simple. Someone has to stand up for you guys. I'm your man. Boss man. the leader of the Truth in Broadcasting Network. The truth shall set you free. Make some adjustments on my sound equipment here. Hopefully I can still be heard right and a little better now. So week after week, we're giving you the voice to help you make trucking great again. What this show is doing is taking the news, the comments, and perspectives that float strategically around for others to hear and see, giving you the chance to be part of change before it's too late. I present you an issue, I present you an article, a newsreel. You look at it, you hear what I've got to say, usually the facts. Then you come on, whether it's through as a panelist or through our call-in studio line or even in a chat. And as my saying goes, prove me wrong or prove me right. Either way, on this show, get ready for a fight. Don't forget, go down, hit the like button, become a subscriber, follow me. I'm on every week and sometimes at night. Stick around at the end of the show. I've got an interesting thought to leave you with, something I may think about doing. Once you become a subscriber to my channel, you won't regret it. So let's get on to today's topic of discussion and the guests that are eagerly waiting. The man of the hour himself, the one whose birthday only comes once a year. Wide round of applause and welcome to Driving with John. My friend, welcome to the show and happy birthday.
No.
Joe,
Thank you. No, thank you for having me. Is my audio good? I'm at home, so I'm not used to this kind of audio in the background.
Audio is
good?
just like your birthday, my friend. Spectacular. So
right.
briefly tell me a little bit about change from where you sit. I haven't said a word. I haven't shown a video. I haven't shown a graph yet. Tell me what thoughts come to mind with you when it comes to use of the word change.
Change in trucking, especially, it's an everyday thing. Like, you get a load and you think everything's all laid out, but guaranteed you're going to have a hang up or a problem somewhere in there. You're going to have, a delayed appointment. You're going to have traffic. There's change constant in trucking. If change is something that you cannot handle, I'm not sure trucking's for you. I mean, trucking is change. Now, for me personally, outside of trucking, I actually have trouble with change. I'm not going to lie about it. But in trucking, it's a normal everyday thing. It's almost expected that nothing ever goes as deemed the way it should.
Yes.
So that's my take.
I think that's a very good take. I think it's a very good way to start today's show out. Got a lot of people up there talking about change, and I picked out a few clips. Actually, I picked out 2 clips that kind of struck me and stuck with me. F8 Truckin is in the house with his typical controversial statement, building trucking back better. I actually kind of, I pick on him, but I kind of like that because I mean, it kind of goes part and parcel to the way I open the show. I say, prove me wrong, prove me right. Either way, get ready for a fight. Well, it's stuff like that I like because you know what? I'm not right all the time. I'm not, and I accept that. That's part of what today's show's about. You know what? Accepting the fact that you're wrong sometimes, that's part of change. That's part of taking that, to use my open 12-step program to recovering from, what ails you, whether it's change itself, whether it's just a particular segment of the industry. We all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses. And, that's, I pick on you, Scott, but honestly, I mean, I love the fact that you come on with that because you know what? A lot of people might not like that term the way it is, but you got to start somewhere. So, you know what? I welcome all perspectives on this show. So, God bless you. I love it. I love it. You're welcome anytime, Scott. So, let me get to what I was going to start talking about here. How many of you watching this podcast think of themselves as career minded? I mean, honestly, when you think about it, career is one thing, but when it comes down to what you do with said career, how is it you think of that career in general? Do you think of it as something you're going to spend the rest of your life doing only the way it starts and only the way you're shown? Or do you think of yourself as an explorer, kind of like a Jean-Luc Picard? You know, the universe open, there's all kinds of possibilities. The sky's the limit, or in his case, the universe. Um, so what is it? I mean, a lot of times how we frame something really dictates how we deal with it on a daily basis. So are you actually career minded, wanting to make this the first and last stop in the game? Or are you of the mindset, eh, whatever happens, happens? I'm just in this long enough to make enough money to get to something bigger and better. Well, check this perspective out for just a minute.
At the end of the day, I feel like trucking to some people is just a stepping stone to pursue something else. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally. I feel like a lot of times what I see is other truck drivers in the trucking community, a lot of times it seems like there are some truck drivers who have a problem with people who decide to get out of the trucking industry. Now, that's not always the case. I'm just telling you guys what I've been observing.
A lot of times we make decisions on the fly. Myself, when I first started trucking, I was a lot like him. I decided, well, let's see where this takes me. But as time goes on, actually over a period of, I'd say, a couple of years, I finally decided, you know what? It makes no sense. Why jump around? Why make things worse than it has to be? Because a little bit about me, I started out in transportation. 18 years of age, I was working at a truck stop parts counter. So I pretty much had the entire idea of transportation already in my blood at a really young age. I went from that to a tow truck job. Then I went from that to a couple of small things. And then I wound up becoming a manager of a transportation company in Wilmington for over 25 years. So I've been around, I've seen what change is. Now, mind you, a lot of that hasn't been all trucking. There's been a mixture, but I like to think that the kind of experience I have gives me a better mindset for what I'm dealing with today. What about you, John? What about you and your start? How are today things for you at least different than when you first started? Maybe with your first experience in transportation. How are things different today for you?
I'm very different than a lot of people that go into trucking. I thought about it, dreamed about it, wanted to be a trucker for 40 years before I ever became, a truck driver. So I walked into it knowing what I was getting myself into, knowing what the industry was like without doing it. I mean, I had driving jobs, just not semi trucks, but something I always wanted to do. So as soon as my kids grew up and an opportunity arose, I took it. I I enjoy it, and I do believe my mindset when I first started is not a lot different than it is now. In a way of it is career minded. It is the long goal, not the short goal. Um, I think a lot of people these days, now this is an assumption of mine, I'm not saying it's true, but I think a lot of people get into it for the money and not career minded. They're not thinking about being a professional driver. They're not thinking about all the important things. They're just thinking about, can I make $1,200 this week or $1,500 or whatever. And don't get me wrong, the money's important. We all pay our bills with it.
Oh
But
yeah,
if
yeah.
if that is your biggest mindset, the thing that's you think about the most, not sure trucking is a good idea for you because you have to have your mind focused on all of the other things before the money.
Well, and case in point is all these bad lease programs that are out there. I mean, think
Mhm.
about it. Everybody's looking at ways to get the next best deal in terms of truck and all that. I mean, you've got your brand new trucks on one side, they're like 150, 60 grand. And there's people foolish enough, I'm not saying who, to get into, these huge lease deals, that, three, $4,000 a month. Personally, don't understand that, but you know what? In that case, you have to be about the money. You really have to get your proverbial butt in gear midlife. Yeah, I guess you're flipping through the comments there. Thank you, John. I wanted to become a
No
truck
problem.
driver in '78 when I saw Chris Christopherson let those truckers roll. Yes, sir. That yeah, that I mean that was actually part of it. I mean, for me, I like the just the idea of being out on the open road and doing a lot of the things that show represented. So I'm right there with you there. Um, so and we're getting quite a few happy birthdays in there, John. Are you feeling the love here? Are you seeing this?
Yes, I've seen a few of them in there. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Well, ain't nothing like showing the man some love.
And if
And
if you are on my channel, I normally don't ask for stuff like this, but if you want to send a super chat, just make it small because I'm not worth that much. Huh.
oh, stop. Oh, stop. Well, let's see if we can get some love sent through the studio lines. Give us a call here if you want to talk about change, especially if it in terms of what life is like now as opposed to when you first started. If you want to give us a call and talk about change, attention, Martin Penwall. I like that one. That was good. If you want to talk about change, give us a call here, 860-785-3547. Please remember there is a huge delay with either the two platforms, Facebook or YouTube, and it will be confusing. So please, when you hear me on the other end of that phone, make sure to turn down your YouTube player. Give us a call, 860-785-3547. Anyway, we're talking with John today, and we're talking with anybody else who cares to about change in trucking. So, with all the press out there about trucking closures, I mean, you know, it used to be a couple of years ago, the market was looking good. It was a great place to be. Everybody was talking about getting started. Now, not so much. I mean, it's not the end of the road. I mean, we're not in trouble tomorrow, but still, you know, the press is taking its own angle on all this. Every time you turn around, another closure, another bankruptcy. I mean, case in point is an article I saw in Freight Waves displaying the very same thing we're talking about. Yeah, okay, it is right. Um, you know, don't know why it showed that, but yeah. Once again, technical difficulties. Um, Basically, it talked about if I'd shown it right, an article and I may have it. I just bear with me, folks. Oh, I just saw another man in the house. Welcome everyone to the grumpy old trucker. There's one that can talk about some changes. You're
I don't know anything about changes. What are you talking about?
oh, give me static. Give me static.
I don't want
Yeah.
to turn my player down.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you ain't on the phone with me, you grumpy old sucker. Anyway, how you feeling?
Well, I'm still alive. Believe it or not.
Last
I'm
night he
still
had a
here.
little rebound. Last night he had a little rebound. Had to go see the doctor. We'll just keep it simple. But you're back with us. You're feeling good. You're looking good anyway. So God bless you.
He's got a shirt on. That's a plus.
That's my makeup crew. My makeup crew.
I was not going to do that. I was not going to embarrass you.
Aw, dadgummit. I knew I forgot to leave something off.
Does anyone else here like myself change trailers and freight type as different commodities become hot? I think that's the smart thing to do, if you ask me. I don't know. What are your thoughts, John?
Yeah, I mean, I don't personally. I don't have the skills that you have or the truck and the ability that you have, but I know there are guys that do that. I think that's extremely smart. You have the land and the trailers to be able to change freight as the conditions change and become better and worse. Yeah, I mean, that's just playing it smart, using your skills to your advantage. That's part of the game.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Frank? While you're talking, I'm looking for a file here. So.
Well, basically, changing trailers and freight. Basically, what he's probably talking about is he's either leased on with a company that has an option to where you can jump to different trailers, or he has his own trailers to where he's able to jump ship from one, like from dry van over to flatbed or RGN or something like that, which it's cost effective if you can afford that.
I could be wrong, but I think he has his own authority, and he does like tanker, flatbed, box. He can pretty much do everything.
Yeah.
So
stuff like that, you're able to do that. Now, if you're somebody like John and I and yourself, boss man, that's not an option for us unless we quit that job and go to somebody else, because most of the companies we're with either stick with dry van or reefer or something like that.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out where the story I wanted to show.
Hey, do you mind if I bring another guest in?
I don't mind. Go right ahead. We have another guest in the house.
We sure do.
Oh, my word. Certainly. Welcome the man, Scott himself. God bless you, my friend. Welcome aboard.
Happy birthday, John.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. As you can see, in my nice comfortable truck and my nice recliner in my driver's seat here,
Yeah, looks nice. Looks nice.
That looks more like to me a really, really fancy lounging area for a truck stop or something.
Yeah. It could be that too. Could be that.
One of them expensive truck stops, ain't you?
Hey, Scott, I'd like to hear your take on what 7C's asked. Do you think it's a smart play to have different trailers and change on commodity depending on what's hot in the market?
If you have the skills and the ability, yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't think that's a bad thing. If you have the capability of multiple types of trailers, I mean, I wouldn't go too extreme, because I do also believe that you can find, depending on what type of freight you haul, you can find situations that like me, for instance, I haul reefer freight. The rates per mile or things like that could be low, but I'm in such a niche thing with what I do that it doesn't really affect me all that much. Does that make sense? But like if I had a flatbed trailer come springtime in the Midwest, I would switch to a flatbed trailer and could actually run closer to home and probably make
midlife Midlife leaves a comment, says, I'm a company driver, and he's got dry vans and flatbeds, drop decks with Conestoga. He says,
Yep.
I've pulled a few of them, but usually just dry van. So I'm not sure where he's going with his original question. Well, wait a minute. The original question was from 7Cs. Never mind. So
yeah, he's just answering that question.
There's midlife's perspective. So yeah, keep going, Scott. I didn't mean to cut you off.
We're getting
No,
harassed a little bit in the comments right now, just to warn you.
That's all right.
It's
I don't think it's a bad idea.
It's a harassment. We don't mind. I mean, look at all these legends, he said.
Yeah, look at the next one. No, we skipped one.
Oh,
that would definitely pertain to me and Scott. We're legends for sure.
I will accept that one. I will take that one. I'm a legend in my own mind. Yes.
I would agree with that for the other three. I am not a legend in my own mind. I don't deserve what I have.
You're the biggest YouTuber on here. What are you talking about?
You're definitely a legend with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, come on, John. We're all legends in our own right. So, give it a rest now.
You know what? Sometimes my dog doesn't even respect me. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got several of those too.
We're getting laughter, so I'll just leave it at that. Okay.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I get
it. Let's keep kind of talking about what you brought up earlier, about change, and do you look at this as like a career or something like that? And I'll share a quick little snippet, and then I'll let other people talk.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I was just about to get to that. I mean, this particular story, and I'll scroll it down here in a minute. I mean, there's two stories in one, actually. I mean, 19-year-old company and a 70-year-old company, all going out of California. Okay. I would like to focus not so much just on the fact that they closed, nor do I want to focus on the obvious, which is where they're located. Obviously, California is a hotbed right now of everybody shutting up doors and leaving, okay, for obvious reasons. But let's step that aside for just a minute and ask an obvious question. I started this entire video out with, are you career-minded or is it a stepping stone? Now, with the 70-year company, I can see it being an obvious economic problem or maybe something else at play here. But the younger company, I really have to ask, okay, was it because of somebody that maybe as a greedy investor just decided, well, I'm going to step on to something else? So, I mean, I don't know. There's probably a lot to the story. This particular story that's highlighted here, it really doesn't detail a whole lot out of either of the companies. But the one thing I do like focusing on when it comes to any story is some of the context you don't see. And that's, plainly one of the things I found interesting was the company's drivers have been inspected 50, and this is talking about the younger company. Company's driver had been inspected 56 times. 8 of them were placed out of service over a 2-year period. That brought their overall safety score or ratio to a 14.3 out of service. The national average, by the way, is, as you see here, 6.7. So, I mean, if we're not taking seriously the very job we do here, and you get situations like this, I mean, the question has to be, I mean, are we letting too many people get into this industry and not take it seriously? Treat it like a stepping stone? Is it just too many investors that are just seeing too much of a financial opportunity? I mean, honestly, what do you think? What's your thought on that, Scott? You brought it up, and we're interested in it.
Well, I wanted to use trucking as a stepping stone to something else. When I first started, when I first got into like the industry, maybe not driving the truck, the driving the truck was a stepping stone from what I was already doing in the industry to make more money. The issue that I ran into is once I started making a lot of money back in 1999, 2000 is I started doing what most people typically do when they run into a lot of money: buy a house, buy a car, start, I had gotten married, started a family. So then it changed to where it was a career.
Right.
And it's been like that for the last 20 some years. Um, I also don't see a problem with people investing their money into something and then when it's not profitable, leave. I I do that with other things outside of trucking. Trucking just has changed and morphed into the only thing that I'm very confident in. You know what I mean? It is.
You've amassed a set of skills because of your experience that speak well to your situation, and it works for you. So that's
Scott, just kind of a little off the topic, just a little bit, but have you always ran under your own authority since you began trucking, or did you run as a company for a little while and then decided to buy your own truck and equipment?
Okay, two things there. I am not a carrier. I don't have my own authority. I am leased on to a carrier. No,
Okay.
and to answer your other question, I was a company guy for 20 years.
Okay.
Always wanting the opportunity to own my own equipment, though. And if I look at this as like a career, the next step for me would be to become a carrier and operate my own authority. Um, and I'm not saying that's not going to happen. It's actually something I've been thinking a lot about lately because I have other goals and other things I want
yeah.
to achieve in this industry.
Well, having goals is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's part of life.
But
Change
I'm
is
not
So
part.
happy with the
basically,
industry.
Well, and you're
ba-
probably a majority of the percentage of people that feel the same way. I mean, I mean, that's part of the reason I do the show because I mean, I want to try changing the perspective, changing the atmosphere a little bit. I can't do it single-handedly, mind you, but um, the
So
reason I do the show I do is because of the amount of people that feel like you. The industry is in trouble. We have a lot to work on, and it sucks. That's what most people say. So you're not alone.
did I
Go ahead,
just
Don.
hear him say? Did I hear him say that he's not happy with the industry of trucking?
That's
I
what it
believe
I'm
that's
sounded
what
not.
you
like.
heard.
Yeah, because I'm not sure, but I don't think trucking really cares about your emotions.
Trucking
I
doesn't
don't think
care about
trucking
your
cares about your
feelings, John.
emotions
Get it
or your
right.
emotions. They don't care.
Get it right.
Well, basically, back to you there on that, Scott, is so basically you made a big change whenever you went from doing company to trying to be your own boss with your own truck. So that was a big significant change right there. You took a lot of risk when you done that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm glad I did. I wouldn't want it any other way than I have it now. And I struggle with that every day. I'll be honest with you. When I see ads and stuff for $105,000 a year working for Walmart or UPS, things like that, like it is a struggle because it would be nice not to carry all the responsibility or the burden of having the equipment. I just
Right.
never want to fill out a vacation slip again. I never
Right.
want to be forced to do something that I don't want to do.
And
Right.
I'll
And
be
at
honest with you,
times
I
even
feel that.
Yeah.
uh,
By the way, I just want to slide in here with I did the sound effect a minute ago with you, Scott. Not for your statement, but for the statement that the comment that is on the screen right now. Poet says he's starting a new job in a couple of weeks. So good going for you, my friend. I hope it works. I hope you get everything you need out of that job. I hope it's the best decision you ever made. So best of luck to you. Keep us updated. We're taking in quite a few comments here. So um not sure what to make of this, but we'll try reading it anyway. Trucking in general invigorates. I hope I'm reading that right. Not only the rules and laws, but income potential. Growth is possible, but volatility isn't worth these days. There are so many other ways to make money. So I'm sensing a little bit of negativity in there.
Just a little.
Just a little. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys. It's not negativity; it's the truth. Like,
well, yeah, no, I'm not
it's
dismissing that. I mean, yeah, but everybody's got their own perspective. I mean, trucking's either
The
good or
truth
bad.
can be negative.
listen. People that
True.
complain about regulations, people that complain about rates, people that do, and I'm not calling TJ a complainer. That's not what I'm doing, TJ. So don't
No,
attack me. But
no, please,
what
no.
that screams to me is somebody that has either been in the industry a long time and refuses to
gonna say
change
that.
with the
Yep.
industry, or
Yeah.
it's somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience in the industry and doesn't realize why all the regulations and things are in place. And the thing is, you
Hold on, John.
can play
Hold on.
by the rules and still generate a lot of wealth. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
you
he goes
can.
on to say in the rest of his comment, and have a career without the hassle of health issues and mental anguish that comes with the trucking industry. So I guess there's a little perspective in there now that we didn't have the first time because it was a two-part comment. So
Once
I feel
again,
like
go ahead and
I feel
thank-
like
let's go ahead and thank Midlife Trucker for that super. Thanks for John there.
thank you, guy.
Coffee on me. I love that. I love that whole coffee on me thing. So I mean, back to what we were talking about.
I'll tell you my take on it. It sounds like he's a veteran, been around for a long time. I don't say negative in a bad way, but you know, when you've been doing something for a really long time and you can see the volatility, the ups, the downs, the craziness, sometimes after long periods of time of doing it, you feel like it's almost not worth it anymore. And I kind of get that comment. I'm not saying that it's not negative. I do think it's a negative comment, but it's a very understandable comment. I think a lot of veterans feel the exact same way. You get beat around for years and years and years in this industry, and I'm not speaking from experience. I just know from talking to other drivers, because I haven't been in it long enough to be that guy. But I understand what he's saying, and I think he has every right to feel that way. So,
I'm not denying he doesn't have the right to feel that way. I would be very interested to know what other industry and or job does not have the same consequences that trucking has. He brought up health and stuff like that. Trucking doesn't make you overweight. Trucking doesn't make you have bad health habits and bad eating habits. You as an individual are 100% in control of that. I stopped
that's true,
right
but
now,
it's much more
and I
work
can get
for
out
a
and
truck
walk.
driver.
How, John? I prepare all my meals in my truck. I eat very healthy in my truck. It's a choice. It is a choice to walk into Burger King.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I want you to listen to me for 1 second.
My dad
It's
was
harder for you
vice president of a company for 25 years and had a heart attack at his desk. You know what I mean? Because of all the stress and everything he was under.
Yeah.
He wasn't a truck driver. You know, we choose to do a lot of those things.
But hang on. In trucking, a lot of people have health issues. And I know you're saying it's not true, but it is. And it's because you have to go through a lot more effort to a lot more effort to eat in your truck than to eat healthy stuff in your truck than it is to stop at a truck stop and buy whatever they have there, which is what the norm is. And I'm not saying you're wrong. They are lazy, but I'm lazy too.
So when you have a job outside of trucking and you get done with your shift, do you go to your house and cook dinner?
Yes.
Okay. Why can't you do that on the road?
Because you don't have the stuff in the truck.
Not always.
By your choice.
Not always.
You choose not to have those things. You choose to have those things not in your truck.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's.
All right, it's my show, so let me just calm the water here. John, you're only wrong in that, like Scott says, people choose the path before them. You can choose to get a hot plate,
but it's more effort.
Well, there is, and what's wrong with that?
It's less effort, but it's less effort when you work at another job and you go home and make dinner.
Okay.
It's the same effort.
There are those in the industry that if they want to stay in the industry, have to make choices, have to deal with change. They have to go the extra effort and make smart decisions. Otherwise, you lose. Game over. And that's all she wrote. Done. You know, it's not a choice to be healthy. It's not a choice to decide you can't do but one thing. So you may think some people don't have a choice. You do. You either choose to eat healthy or you die. It's this simple.
Okay,
Frank,
can I come in?
Yeah, I was going to say your turn.
All right. As within an interview that I did just most recently with John up here, we discussed a lot of topics that had to do with that. I won't go into great detail because that's going to be his little show whenever he gets it done. But I will say
By
this:
the way, midlife,
you,
to the
Scott,
good news in that comment on the screen, I say awesome. Wade 296, you're now at 233, so congratulations. But here, even someone like himself had heart attacks, so health is a big deal, and it is a thing. Keep going, Frank. I'm sorry.
anyhow, Scott, you've been driving just a hair longer than me. Now, when we first started, you know as well as I do, it was very difficult to have hot plates and stuff in your trucks unless you bought your own inverter, because most company trucks did not have inverters.
Right.
So you had no way of using electronic stuff in there other than using it in a 12-volt plug, which you knew most of that stuff was expensive and not reliable to use because half the time it'd catch on fire or burn out or something else. So, I mean, back in the day when we first started, Scott, you got to think it was a little more difficult to find healthy eating places and things unless we was at a good truck stop. Like back in the day, you should remember Flying J's had the big buffets that you could roll in, grab what you wanted, a good salad bar or whatever off of that, and sit down, have a nice dinner, go out to your truck, relax, and go to bed after you had your shower and all that. Nowadays, you roll into a truck stop, and what do you find? Hardee's, Wendy's, Arby's, you name it. And yeah, we can cook in our own trucks nowadays because most trucks are equipped with an inverter. That's great. And some have refrigerators. Now, the last company I was with did not have a refrigerator, so I would have had to purchase one, or I would have had to keep everything in an ice chest. So it did make it a little more difficult for me on that situation. So I wound up, having to buy whatever I had available out there. So it's kind of a flip of a nickel on that one, because yes, you can choose to eat healthy if you have the ability to keep your perishables, in a good place and choose to do that yourself nowadays. I do agree with you on that, Scott. But back in the day, like I said, when we first began, it was just a little more difficult than what it is nowadays.
I agree with that. I agree with that statement. But once again, I have never been overweight. I have never had, and I'm not saying this to like beat anybody up, or things could change overnight for me. I'm not saying, I have had a conscious reality of what I put into my body. I'm not drinking 65 ounces of Mountain Dew. And I mean, trucking, you brought up how much more difficult it was back in the day when we started. When I started trucking, methamphetamine, speed, all those things were things that we did, that truckers did. You had a choice to make. Neither did I. But just like that, you had a choice to make. Is that something you wanted to do, or was it something you didn't want to do?
Nowadays, the hot plates are not necessarily always the necessity nowadays, because as Midlife points out, Walmart's got prep meals for $5.50, Olive Garden has them for $6, and hell, even Lowe's has them for $7.99. I hate paying truck stop prices for anything, but there are options out there.
Let's be clear.
30 seconds in the microwave.
Everything out here on the road is meant to kill you. That's the truth.
I have a question. I have a question for the resident vegan in the house. So If this is unhealthy and horrible, and I shouldn't be drinking,
I didn't
3
say
gallons
that.
of it a day. Hang on. And I should be. How about if I switch to this?
What's that?
Hershey's chocolate.
Is that
Hershey's
better?
chocolate.
Is that better?
He says he's been out of the truck since 21, and he's been healthy and mentally squared away and focused. So good for you, my friend. Sometimes being out of the truck actually helps you focus and helps you make the changes in life you need to make. Some changes, and I didn't really focus on this to start, but when it comes to change in trucking, some is voluntary, other is forced. So which side of the spectrum are you on? Are you being forced to make changes, or are you making them voluntarily? Anyway, let's
So
continue it. Give me
when
one
it,
second. Give me 1 second. Let's continue the conversation. If you guys are feeling froggy and want to call in and have a discussion with me, 860-785-3547, 860-785-3547. Talking about change in trucking.
I'd like to hear that phone start ringing off the hook. That would be wonderful right
I'm
now.
serious. Yeah. Well, if it happens, it happens. We will
Well,
pick up in time here. 7C's pipes up. I'm a trucker. I go home every day and still a lard A. I
He's abbreviated the A. In other words,
Yeah.
you took the dollar signs off of it.
Just say big and then A. You got the
I
point.
get it. I get it. We lost Scott. I don't know. He had to go, or we lost connection with him. That was a pretty spirited conversation. I don't know. Maybe he got mad at me
Not yet.
trying to intro everybody. I don't know. Sorry about that.
Nah, it's okay. He's fine.
But,
He's fine.
There
Oh,
he
he's
is.
back.
Is that him coming back? Yeah. Okay. Boo hoo.
sorry
It
about
happened.
that.
Hey, AT&T's fault, not yours. Anyway,
Maybe if the phone had a little bit, more meat in its diet, it probably would have been better.
right.
I don't understand why you had to bring that up.
I'm just picking on you. That's why.
I'm
picking on you.
Scott. Don't get
We'll
all
nickname
It's not
him
like-
the Tofu Man.
It's not like anybody that watches my channel doesn't watch yours, and they all know that you're doing this thing, and it's good for you, and I'm proud of you.
I've only talked about it like once or twice on my channel.
Yeah.
Well, there was a comment earlier on here. I think it was from 7C's. He said the resident vegan. That's where I got it from. So
Oh, okay.
I thought
So
it was funny.
You're not self-inspired then, John, huh?
Well,
No, I'm
two
not.
things Scott's got
Sometimes
going
I
for
take
him.
other people's funnies and I try to make them funny too. So
Two things that
I'm good at
Scott's got
reusing
going good
things like
for him.
that.
Two things Scott's probably got going good for him is one, he probably has a good metabolism that burns off his fat, which he being vegan mostly, without red meat in his diet, his body burns that off pretty quickly, and that's probably one of the reasons why he has a healthier lifestyle. Plus, I just seen him chug a bunch of water, which, I'm knowing that water runs most of your fats and sugars out of your body pretty quickly. That's another
mostly
plus he's
water?
got going for him.
That's mostly water.
What, the cup or
I
what's
have
inside of it?
there's another thing that goes into all of this, and I hate to talk about somebody like he's not here and he's right there, but he also played hockey as a kid, which meant he was in phenomenal shape. It's almost impossible to be in bad shape and play hockey. So coming into trucking, he was probably already in really good shape, which what you do now decides how you feel, look, and everything for the next 10 years. So he had a good 10-year head start on me for sure.
Okay, so basically, if you were into doing sports and real active whenever you're younger, now that you've done trucking for all these years, has your weight changed? Just out of curiosity, did you notice a change where you've started gaining some weight and you're not as healthy as you used to be?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's
But-
kind of the
but
point that I
that's-
was trying to bring.
Well,
earlier
wait a
when we
minute.
were talking
Let
about
me be clear. Let me be clear. When I was an athlete who, I'm not talking like little school. Like I played in college and outside of college. I worked out. I had to work out. Our team worked out. I lifted weights. I had dietitians, you know what I mean, that worked for the team, that kind of told us what to eat, what not to eat. So when I stopped playing hockey, of course I started gaining weight because I wasn't at the gym 4 times a week. You know what I mean? I'm not at the gym now as a
That
truck
by itself
driver.
takes a toll on you.
I have things in my truck that allow me to still be physical and feel like I'm getting cardio. You know, I'm 44 years old now. I don't care about muscle. I care about my cardio. You know what I mean? I played hockey at 175 pounds. I'm like 185 pounds now with probably more body fat than muscle from, you know, in my 20s. You know what I mean?
Too bad I
But
didn't
that
have the magic wand and just switch you and I places for about a week and see how our lifestyles differ. That would be kind of cool.
it's all
Unfortunately, I'm not a magician.
listen, choices we make aren't always easy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
lifestyle or the eating habits I have now are not, I'm not pretending they're easy, but they're doable. And the reason I say they're doable is because anything I do, I believe anybody can because
John,
I
are you
am
having
not
fun?
special.
John's having fun switching you and I back and forth.
I know, right? I'm no longer the
Well,
DJ. I'm
they said they wanted to change places, so I was helping them out.
I get it now.
all right. Well, our friend from the north, Poet, is on the phone lines. Do you have anything to add to this eating healthy conversation, my friend, or what?
I was 130 pounds then, or with a size 32, 13. I still wear 32, and I weigh 135 now.
You guys are able to hear him, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, guys, that's a long distance call from northern Canada, so we all
Yeah, right?
understand.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm trying out this system a little differently, so you guys have to bear with me. It's a work in progress, so you know.
Poets can his wires a little loose between here and there.
Grumpy old truckers picking on you. So congratulations, Poet, on the new job. That hopefully will turn out to be a good experience for you, my friend.
Uh-huh. So anyway, yeah, I cook in my truck. I haven't eaten in a truck in 7+ years. I got to say, I weigh much more now than when I was 16. I also carry a portable barbecue, and I've been cooking in my truck for 10+ years.
Wow.
Good for you.
Yes.
I
Good for
mean,
you.
I've got my own inverter. I've got my own cooler. I carry my own groceries. Stop at Walmart up here if need be. Yeah, it is what it is. I can't afford to eat in truck stops anymore.
Yeah. For a little bit of perspective, for just a little bit of perspective there, Poet, what did things compared to today, what did things look like in terms of making your own meals back in the day when you started, man?
I bought a lunchbox cooker, and I started out with canned vegetables, canned potatoes, the occasional piece of real meat from Walmart, and now I don't get to a lot of truck stops, and I'm used to pay their prices. So I will go to Walmart or a grocery store and buy cooked meals, frozen. And, you know, if I'm out on the road, she will meet me and supply me with frozen meals. So home cooked meals more so than canned meals, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Definitely agree with that. Yes, sir.
what do you want to say, Frank? What do you want to say,
What?
Frank?
Oh, I was just teasing you a while ago there, Poet, because we was talking about long distance phone call. I was like, yeah, I said, Poet's phone, his can with the wire is a little jiggly between here and us.
There's a lot of love coming up north for you guys.
I heard very little of that.
He was
Whoever
just
that
picking on. He was
I-
just picking on the connection between you and me. The can's a little stretched thin and the wire's a little loose, but we ain't blaming you for that. That's good old that's the good old grabberman, as you like to call it.
Yeah. And I just added the USA plan to my phone plan, so now I can call and it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg.
Well, God bless you. I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad you're on the phone with us today, Poet. I thank you for calling. Certainly stick with us. Stay with us. We are not finished doing the Lord's work. So, my friend, I appreciate you calling in today.
Yeah, right. All right, boss.
All right.
See you later.
All right. Bye-bye. I love that. And even
Did
if
we
he's
lose our
not on
other
the
two
phone-
guys?
Huh?
Did
Well,
we lose our other two?
it looks that way. I'm guessing because we're hard up on the hour, I'm going to leave the show on a good note because I had prepared to start something a little earlier than this. I want to talk to you a little bit about my story. I first got into trucking and I thought it was just one and done, the same model for everybody all over the place. And in a short time, I figured out, no, it's not. I mean, this industry is so widely cut out in so many different molds and so many possibilities. Really, you cannot be in this industry and not experience change, even if you do the same thing all the time. I think the best way to make trucking great again is to stop worrying about all the change and uncertainty and embrace what made you start it to begin with. And until things change, make the best out of what you've got. Amen to that. We have a lot of...
That's scary right there.
Yeah, right? We have a lot of opportunity in front of us. Now, opportunity can be defined in two different ways. You can look at it as change is good, or you can look at it as change is bad. It can be good in that, there's always technology, there's always innovation coming our way. It can be bad if you're not prepared for it and you don't know what lies ahead.
Right.
I told you earlier in the show, I was going to let you in on a confession. The confession is simply this. I am an addict. I am one of those that don't like change. I am one of those that, you know what? When the chips are down, I get frustrated, just like the rest of us. But I keep going. I keep looking for the next big thing. Trucking to me is not a stepping stone. Trucking to me is not the way to the next best thing. Trucking to me is it. It is the only thing in life I will do until they put a headstone over me. That being said, I have no problem admitting that I am a recovering addict of change. So here's where it stands. As we wrap up our discussion today, let's be real. Change isn't always easy. It can be messy, it can be disruptive, downright frustrating, whether you're in it for the stepping stone reason or you're in it for the long haul. If you're the type that will die trying, welcome aboard. So here's to embracing change, my friends. Let's remember, every day presents an opportunity to make a difference. That's what I'm doing here. That's what this show is. So if you like this kind of show, please hit the like button. Go down there, hit the subscribe button. It's free. It don't hurt. It's part of change. So let's hope that every day going forward is just as good as today. And hey, if it's not the best thing, you know what? There's always tomorrow. Together, we can make trucking great again. To get together, we can make a difference. Because at the end of the day, it's all about change. It's all about helping others. And I think that's a lot of times what we forget. Enjoying it and making the best. Remember, guys, it's the trucks that make the deliveries, but it's the drivers, people like you and me. We're the ones that make the difference. Till next time, keep the faith, keep it real, and by all means, keep it rolling.